beautiful Friday morning to you. This is not just any other Friday, it is Good Friday. Yes, we know Friday is always good, but this one is a special Friday. Now, these are since the Palm Sunday last Sunday, it launched us into the Holy Week where we get to observe when Christ entered into Jerusalem, and today made it Friday where Jesus died, and we know He rose, for us to have life. He died to give us life. So today, this Good Friday, let's reflect on the sacrifice that Christ made. His Father, God, gave us His one and only Son, to give us life, and not just life, an everlasting life. Welcome you all newspaper review this morning on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM. It's Good Friday. I hope this Friday reminds us of why we still have hope, and why we still have peace, and why we still should love one another. I'm Oluwafunke Israel, and it's good to have you on newspaper review this morning, where we bring you all of our top stories on our national dailies and details of these headlines. Do well to join us this morning. We're on YouTube at Vicinity 95.3 FM. You can also join us on Facebook at Vicinity 95.3 FM. And before me this morning is the Punch newspaper, the Guardian, Daily Trust, and Daily Independent. Also, the Punch. And let's kick it off with the Punch this morning. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, Tinubu, working remotely from overseas, returns after Easter presidency. FG to clear 2 trillion naira Genco debt by December. Dangote fuel pricey despite crude oil crash. S&P Global. El-Rufai deserves fair treatment after supporting Tinubu, Buhari's ex-minister, Shitu. On epileptic electricity, FG to inject 1,900 megawatts solar power into grid. Government sets 8,000 megawatts power goal by 2027, taps private sector for grid expansion. Natasha urges police to restore security as gunmen raid home. Emergency. Rivers administrator wants mischief makers. Gani Adams orders reject Southwest Sharia panels. Murder trial are found Ataga in pool of blood, says Chidima. Adeleke Makinde meets over Oyo-Osun border tensions. And to Daily Independent, power sector revenue soars 70% to 1.7 trillion naira in 2024 on reforms. CSOs seek probe into $1.5 billion repairs of Port Harcourt refinery. Tinubu overseeing development in Nigeria from hero presidency may return after Easter festivities. Attack in Benue is about land grabbing, says Governor Alia. Insecurity will be supports Northern monarchs. Call on decisive action. SEC disowns CBEC, says firm not registered. Trump may shut down 30 U.S. embassies, consulates in Africa, Europe, and Asia. Natasha asks IGP to reinstate security details after family house attack. Police vow to deal with criminals that carried out the attack. Experts downplay impact of Trump's tariffs on Nigeria cocoa. Now to Daily Trust. Amid 4 trillion naira electricity debt, FG plans new subsidy model. NGF to play two stakeholders, resolve differences through dialogue. Don't run Arch Commission like sole administrator Shetima tells Chair. Tinubu extends stay in Europe. Insecurity in North, military replaces TFA commander in Borno. Now first strikes bomb terrorists in Sambisa. And to the Guardian, schools, teachers, AI threats or opportunities. Schools, teachers cite concerns, search for academic integrity. Benue killings attacks are planned, not random occurrences, says David Mark. Rep alleges security operatives no play two killers. Gencos gets 2 trillion naira pledge from FG to avert blackout. Good Friday seemingly sees less crucifixion of Nigeria. Over 19 million students to sit for Nigeria's first digital West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Reps caution against fraudsters as SEC denies of rule of law justice. Presidency replies Atiku Obi says Tinubu remains at work overseas. Tensions persist in Rivers as Tinubu's emergency rule clocks 1 month. The top stories on the Guardian newspaper. And on the front page of Nigerian Tribune, CBEX illegal unlicensed digital asset exchange SEC. Reps call for urgent crackdown on perpetrators of fraud. Power sector got 700 billion naira boost in revenue in 2024. Minister says generation capacity has hit 6,300 megawatts. FG to pay 2 trillion naira Genco debt by year end. Presidency defends Tinubu's foreign stay amid criticism over insecurity, says President now in London. Nigeria economy recovering, but LCCI. Eastern Rail Line may be ready before Eastern Rail Line may be ready before 2027. NRCMD. Military deactivates 42 illegal refineries, naps 42 oil thieves. WAEC begins 2025 May-June examination with 1.97 million candidates. Gunmen attack Natasha's family house in Kogi. Investigation has begun. Police. Khan attributes continuous killings in Plateau to lack of punishment for perpetrators. The top stories or Nigerian Tribune. Now bring you details of these stories. Please stay with us.
The sound is loud and clear. It's Vicinity 95.3 FM Ikeji-Lejesha. In the state of the living spring, right on the mountain top, a baby was born, ready to take the world by storm. Welcome to our Vicinity 95.3 FM Ikeji-Lejesha. In the state of the living spring, right on the mountain top.
That's it. You're still on Vicinity 95.3 FM. To want to know, you can join us on Facebook at Vicinity 95.3 FM. Join the conversation this morning. Leave a comment, like, and share. And back to Nigerian Tribune. President Bola Tinubu has been in France for over a week now, and since opposition leaders has raised concerns over his uh, inability to address the insecurity situation in the country for not even being in the country in the first place. Now, presidency has come to defend Tinubu's foreign stay amid criticism over insecurity. The presidency has defended President Bola Tinubu's continued stay abroad amid growing criticism from opposition figures, insisting that the president remained fully engaged in national governance despite being temporarily outside the country. In a statement released on Thursday by Bayo Nonuga, special advisor to the president on information and strategy, the presidency assured Nigerians that Tinubu's absence is part of a planned 2-week working visit and that he remains in constant touch with government officials and security chiefs. President Bola Tinubu remains fully engaged in Nigeria's governance, even though he is away from Europe. That's it right there. And on power sector got 700 billion naira boost in revenue in 100 days. Nigeria's power sector has recorded a significant leap in revenue generation with an additional 700 billion naira released in 2024, marking a 70% increase year on. This was disclosed by the Minister of Power, Adedayo Adelabu, during a ministerial press briefing held on Thursday in Abuja, where he highlighted key achievements of the ministry under the renewed Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The minister attributed this landmark growth to recent cost-reflective tariff reforms targeted at boundary customers, which raised total market revenue from 1 trillion naira in 2023 to 1.7 trillion naira in 2027. This is from the minister. Remember Jen Kos, the electricity company distributing power has warned of total shutdown due to federal government's inability to pay over 2 trillion naira. And federal government is assured that before the end of the year, that debt would be cleared. Now, maybe it would help them stall, a shutdown of our power sector for the moment. Now to other story on Nigerian Tribune. IGP advocates full implementation of community policing. Policing. Inspector General of Police Kayode Betukun has advocated for the decentralization of the police force and the full implementation of the community policing initiative to ensure better law enforcement and security in the country. Delivering the maiden distinguished alumni lecture of the Center for Peace and Security Studies at Al-Iqma University, Lorien, Thursday, Better called for adequate funding and capacity building for officers deployed in community policing as well as clearly defined roles for the decentralized police force. Still on Nigerian Tribune, Eastern Northern Khan calls for renewed sacrifice and national healing. As Christians in Nigeria and across the globe celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, for the 19th Northern State and the Federal Capital Territory has urged renewed commitment to sacrifice, national healing, and the empowerment of women in rebuilding Northern Nigeria. In Goodwill Easter message, the chairman of the Northern CAN, Reverend John Joseph Ayel, extended heartfelt greetings to Christians and all Nigerians, describing the Easter season as not only spiritually significant, but also a time to reflect on Christ's redemptive sacrifice. His sacrifice was grounded in love, compassion, and a deep commitment to the common good of humanity, he said. Easter reminds us that even in the face of pain and despair, hope can be reborn. The story is on Nigerian Tribune. And I move to the Guardian newspaper.
In the state of the living spring, right on the mountain top, a baby was born, ready to take the world by storm. Welcome to our vicinity 95.3 FM Ikejile Ijesha.
Glad to have you here with us on VCT 95.3 FM. Now on The Guardian, attack on Natasha's family home elicits mixed feelings. The April 15, 2025 attack on the ancestral home of Senator Natasha Puti-Duang in Obieba, Hihima, Kogi State has been seen as a chilling reminder of the rising dangers faced by outspoken female politicians in Nigeria. Although the lawmaker was not in town, the attackers believed otherwise, vandalizing windows and targeting the property where her grandfather once lived. Swift action by civil defense operatives and local residents prevented further damage and ensured no casualties were recorded. According to the senator's chief security officer, Yakubu Ubanja, the assailants arrived around 1 a.m. and vandalized the property. Following distress call, security operatives from Kehi responded. So this is it, or somehow you think that this situation with Natasha would rest a bit, but the 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 more the day go by, the more we see, different angle to this. If it's not some quarters saying that she's too outspoken is from the allegations of assassination when she visited her hometown to celebrate with our people in our constituency during the Salah period. And now attack on our home, our ancestral home. Somehow you think that this situation would have been relaxed a while ago, but now we just keep seeing different twists to it. And if this was something that's premeditated, it should be stopped because somehow it would point accusing fingers to people who had opposed the lawmaker since the situation and the controversy surrounding her suspension and what have you. She's been suspended. The little people can do is just stay off a matter for now, except if it's a situation of court, and there's still a situation there, even when the judge in who was overseeing the case ago too has decided to withdraw himself when the Senate president accused him of being biased. And now that we have Justice Onyaku overseeing that situation, she has ordered that they should not grant, any media interview or post anything on social media so that they can, prevail over this case and not have, different opinions and people, bringing other things to the issue. She has warned that they should not grant interview moving forward since the time she assumed, you know, mm, she became the judge on that particular case between suspended Senator Natasha Puti and the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. And at this time, I think that now that they are not asking people to talk, people are already, are creating another, drama around this. Why attack our ancestral home? And somehow, if this is not checked, it may seem that maybe people opposing are the ones behind it. Might not even be something that's planned. But this time, it would be. You can't easily finger that okay, these people are people who are against her, the one going after her home. Now that you cannot speak, at least you can act with your hands and all of that. So this should be checked and it shouldn't happen again. Of course, the senator does not live in Kogi State, but this is our home that's been vandalized. Now on this story on the Guardian, or shoe politician escapes gun attack calls for urgent investigation. A former House of Representatives experience under the All Progressives Congress, Ibrahim Bolariwa Oyekunle, has recounted a near-death experience following an alleged assassination attempt on his life in Abuja earlier this month. Oyekunle, who contested to represent Irewole Ishokon Ayedade Federal Constituency of Osun State in the 2023 general elections, called on the Inspector General of Police and all the security agencies to investigate the incident and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. This story is on the Guardian newspaper. And now on Ataga's murder, Chidinma narrates discovery of Super TV CEO's lifeless body. The prime suspect in the murder of Super TV Chief Executive Officer Michael Usifu Wataga, Chidinma Ojukwu, yesterday told a Lagos High Court sitting at the Balewa Square how she discovered the deceased lifeless body in a Lekki short-let apartment on June 15, 2021. Testifying before Justice Yetunde Adesoya, the former 300-level mass communication student at the University of Lagos, said she had returned from buying food and juice, knocked on the door but got no response, and then pushed it open to find blood on the floor and Ataga lying in a pool of blood. Now this story is on the Guardian. If you have been following this story since, I'm even, shocked that it's been almost 4 years. The story of the Super TV executive who was found in the pool of his own blood, and then of course had his partner with her. This time she'd been locked up, since the investigation into his murder's begun. And now there's a twist to the story because at the beginning this was not what we had, because she said she was trying to defend herself because he was drunk. They were both tipsy, and he was trying to force himself on her, and she started to push and pull, and he hit his head. Now there's another twist to it. Moving away from that story, Enugu PH Railway project top priority for federal government. The newly appointed managing director at the Nigerian Railway Corporation, Dr. Kayode Okwefa, has said the Enugu-Port Harcourt Railway project is already receiving attention as one of the top priority projects of the federal government, while assuring that the project had been getting a fair share of the national budget. DMD commended Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State for his transformational initiative, saying the governor's investment in infrastructure was already rubbing off on the people's standard of living. Easter, Lagos NSCDC deploys 2,250 officers to protect critical assets and infrastructure. The Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed 2,250 officers and men to strategic locations across the state in commemoration of this year's Good Friday, an Easter celebration. The federal government, through the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has declared today, Friday, April 18 and Monday, April 21, 2025, as public holidays to mark the celebration. State Commandant of NSCDC, Lagos State Command, Adedotun Kenshiro, reaffirmed the command's commitment to protecting all critical national assets and infrastructure in the state across all sectors of the nation's economy. And police arrests 106 suspects, recover 5,612 ammunition cartridges in Delta. The Delta State Police Command has arrested 106 suspects in connection with various crimes in the state during the first quarter of the year. A breakdown of the arrests showed that 35 persons were apprehended for armed robbery, 24 for kidnapping, 21 for murder, and 22 for cultism, while 4 suspects were linked to the defilement. The command said it has continued to make Delta State a difficult environment for criminals through proactive and intelligence driven policing. Now move to Daily Trust. Still on newspaper review visiting 95.3 FM. Thank you for sticking with us. Tinubu extends stay in Europe. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu extended his stay in Europe. The developments came amidst criticism by the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, and other opposition leaders who have questioned his absence from the country at a time when it's witnessing crisis in different parts. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar demanded the return of the president and criticized his continued stay outside the country, saying the situation in Plateau, Benue, and other parts of Nigeria demands his attention. Also, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, the 2023 election, Peter Obi, lamented that since the president's departure, many Nigerians have been killed, a development that should warrant his immediate return. And on April 2nd, President Tinubu departed Abuja for Paris, France, on a working visit as stated by the presidency. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy has said during the visit, the president would praise his administration's midterm performance and assess key milestones. The president has been out of the country since April 2nd. So today is the 18th of April. This tells us that the president has spent over 2 weeks uh, in France. And while we were told the president was leaving the country, there was this information that was going to spend 2 weeks. And now that, in the face of criticism, the president has decided to extend his stay, saying that, of course, it was supposed to be 2 weeks. Now that he's extended his stay, well, at this time, I think people will just have to keep talking. But all the same, the president also responded to criticism, saying that he is away, but he's not away. He is, speaking to people in leadership, and he understands that the situation of ground is in. He's not been talking to the chief of army staff, and the security heads, and all the also vice president is there in his absence and all of that. And I think at this point, we can't really, force the president to return. And the president is here. Of course, we would not march to these places where we have crises. Even though we know sometimes when situations like this arise, it is important that for a man who oversees the situation of the whole country, pay visits. But at the end of the day, have we not seen, our leaders pay visits to troubled zones and the issue still escalates? Look at this issue of Plateau. We think what happened in Bokos will rest a bit, but they launched another attack in another local government. So at this time, we need to, redefine how we deal with this situation. So it's not about the president being present. It's about, the steps to take to attack these attackers. When they come to, you give them 10. Give them a hot chase. Look at the situation in Lagos just yesterday. Security operatives in Lagos say they have been seeing, influx of Boko Haram in Lagos, and they always find a way to return them back because they can't face the heat there, the bombardment. They're now moving into the southwest. So we see it's all security, heads coming together and finding a way to combat insecurity. And at this point, of course, they will need all hands to be on desk. Our president is a stakeholder in it. All of us were stakeholders in this situation. At the end of the day, it's just some people play more parts than others. So this is why is what we should be addressing. Presidents being in town or not, his presence might do a little if we don't find a how to undo or tackle the insecurity. It's not today we've had situations of insecurity in our hands. Honestly, it's been running into decades, and I'm afraid though we applaud all of the security, personnel and security is trying, to figure out a way to combat this, but we have to come up with other strategies to see that we bring this situation to the barest minimum, so that when you think of, coming to create mayhem, you know that you will have to come against some strong security forces, because there will be no way for you. Now moving to the story, still on insecurity. Nine, what's that story again? Niger Delta Niger diplomatic role over Tuger. On that story, President Ahmed Tinubu is set to hold direct talks with his Nigerian Republic counterpart, General Abdurrahmani Chani, according to Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Maitama Tugar, made a statement while addressing journalists in Niamey alongside his Nigerian counterpart. The visit marked the second by senior Nigerian officials since the 2023 coup in Niger. It follows the visit of General Christopher Musa, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, who traveled to Nigeria in August. And yeah, a visit. We know Niger is now part of the Alliance of Sahel states, and we share border with them, and it's important that we continue to find a way to form, relationship, so that we can undo or battle the common enemy facing our region and our borders. And on this story, still on insecurity, military replaces theater commander in Borno. Authorities, all things become great big things that we all get to share. And this season of Easter, I hope you have a great celebration. Thank you for joining us on this Prepare Review this beautiful Friday, Good Friday morning. Executive producer, Siya Deshola Salami. I'm Oluwafunke, Israel, and I say kudos to the technical crew for making this a smooth ride. So I come your way again on the morning show. Have yourself a great day.
From the mountain, the sound is morning. It's Vicinity 95.3 FM. Kejìlélógójì.
Every Friday. You will appear our guest this morning.
I beg you.
No, you will come and say something about the Good Friday. Important is the significance of a Good Friday now.
You have a guest, so what will I be doing with my other work?
No, you enjoy, you pair us. You bring in you then at the tail of the program. Just to say something, I think, to the significance of a Good Friday. Even Mutin suggest